I'd like to revisit one of the biggest, I guess, long-winded and boring, if I may, bloviated, if I can be so bold, people that seems to be always on the cusp of being a true conspiracy theory person, like a broadcaster, and yet just comes just shy of it, just enough to keep the regular advertisers and not, have to sell his own like vitamin B shots and dick pills. And Glenn, of course, is still in the he's still sequestered in his painting room in his garage. They have hung a flag over the spurt sign. Now I know you're saying how that said sport. I don't believe you. Now that it's covered up, I'm just going to say it says spurt. And I don't know why Glenn Beck has a lit up old-fashioned sign that says spurt behind his head, but that's Glenn Beck's business. He can spurt if he wants to. Well, I guess not anymore. If Clarence Thomas has his way, he can't. But this is one of those ones where you would think that there's sort of normalcy going on in the government. There's like, we're fighting inflation. The gas prices are up because of oil and the refining capacity. Just life, and the government's trying to find ways of dealing with it. The Fed just is raising interest rates and it's kind of spiking them. They're going to go to 7.5 again, and then it's going to stay there. And house prices are starting to come down because mortgage rates are going up, and it's normalized, stabilizing, crazy shit. And the potential for a recession is always there, and that's what the people who want the free money to keep flowing always clamor about in those regards. So, especially people who invest in property and have been buying up houses hand over fist are right now losing their fucking shirt. You can actually make more money from a bond than you can with a rental property right now. And so 1-to-1, you might be able to, change those numbers. But in terms of if you're buying 20 to 30 to 60% of the houses in an area to try and rent them out and make money off of them, you're actually going to lose money now as the rates go up. And, there's a lot of shit going on. Ukraine, everything. But apparently the gas prices issue is actually just a pretext for Biden to, I guess, go even more Stasi, as Tucker Carlson would tell us, and create a UN one world government run by George Soros super Jew. This is titled "Biden May Use Gas Prices to Expand His Powers Massively."
Dow plunged
Do say
400 more points. The Wall Street banks yesterday began to...
By the way, hold on. What's the date on this fucker? Let me show it. Like, can I have an update or a, let's see. What's this transcript? We'll see what he's referencing.
Warn of significant downturn and increased recession odds. The White House is still denying that there's any chance at all of any kind of recession.
No, they aren't.
We're in a transition period, and that's what's so exciting. According to the White House, there's no recession coming. We're just in a transition. And I think that's right. We're
in a transition to a recession. Your earpiece is falling out.
In a transition from a free market into some sort of totalitarian state.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
Where the administrator
it forces all true, God-loving, flag-fearing Americans to broadcast from their garage.
Joe Biden just keeps wanting to, take things over.
No, I don't know. What are you talking about?
Don't know if you saw this, but he...
Probably not.
He demanded yesterday that gas stations lower their prices.
He demanded. He did. And I hope they listened, because he has the ability to murder them. He's going to... What is he, sending death squads?
He said, do it now.
Okay.
Do it today. Bring down the price you're charging at the pump to reflect the cost you are paying for the product.
Right.
Joe, that's not how businesses work.
Right. Yeah, it's not. Tell them, Glenn, if they can make money, they should sell. If people can buy it and they can bleed them dry, they should just be allowed. Here's Glenn Beck arguing for higher gas prices.
Okay? They can't keep their doors open if they're only charging what they paid for it.
No, he's not asking them to sell gas wholesale, fucko. He was talking about price gouging of the cost based on what it's costing them. The price has gone down, and yet they're maintaining higher prices in some other places. And it is not reflective of the cost of the gas that they are selling.
Because they also need to charge for the lights and the building and all of the supplies.
Yeah, you got to know that. They give away all the snacks inside.
And the people working there at the gas station, they have to have a...
Again, what... President Biden demanded this week that gas stations lower their prices immediately, bring down the price you're charging at the pump to reflect the cost you're paying for the product. To reflect it, not the exact amount, he told station owners. But unfortunately, it seems Joe may have missed an important economics lesson during his road to the White House. Okay, this is just fucking goofy. This is an intentional misreading of the statement. Jesus Christ.
A profit margin, but
yeah, this is like a straw version of Burning Man.
You have only been in the private sector your whole life, so you don't understand
public sector.
That.
Public sector. You're saying he's been in the public sector his whole life.
He said, I want the Congress and the states and the industry to do their part because I'm doing my part.
Uh-huh.
Now, that's fantastic, but not as fantastic as what Granholm said later.
Okay, so she insisted they're going to use, let me guess, they're going to pass a law that you have to sell gas at cost.
So they're asking for a tax holiday, which is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, tax breaks? The fuck?
First,
it's ridiculous.
First, we, practically emptied out our strategic reserves.
No, we didn't.
Now
he thinks we have 50 million barrels in our strategic reserves total.
They want a tax holiday on gas tax, but they're not going to find and cut anything in the federal deficit, in the federal budget.
Yeah, that's not where that goes. And the deficit's already been cut in half.
So they got to keep paying for all of these, equitable roadways and everything else. So
equitable roadways. Yes, the drag, like, how are you going to get your kids to a drag queen reading hour at the library?
They're just going to find that
without riding the Rainbow Road
money. Well, they're going to find it at the Fed, and the Fed can't.
Oh, we're going to print money to pay for the gas tax. We've already allocated. This is so stupid.
Can't sell our treasuries to anybody.
We can't sell our treasuries Let's see. Today's stock is essentially flat. Your treasury yield above 3%. Where's that? Oh, that's 2 weeks ago. I need a new one. Treasuries. Yeah, I'll just do U.S. treasuries. U.S. Numbers. Trying to find one that actually, okay. Treasury does this. It shows slow growth. Euro treasury yields dip as key inflation metric shows possible slowdown. 10-year treasury yield tops 3% of the head CPI reading. Let's just grab this guy. Here's Market Watch. Oh, I've reached my article limit. You bastard. This is from the NASDAQ. But when is this? This is the 23rd. Okay, this isn't too far ago. Here we go. This is kind of what I think he's trying to talk about. Wait, 1 second. Shrink it down so it fits on the page. There we go. Treasury's yields tumbled to 2-week lows. 2 weeks. Oh my God, the worst in 2 weeks on recession fears. June 23rd, U.S. Treasury yields fell to 2-week lows on Thursday on concerns that the Federal Reserve will cause a recession by aggressively hiking interest rates and on growing belief that the yields may have topped for the near term, even if inflation stays high. Yields have dropped from more than decade highs reached before last week's Fed meeting. When the U.S. Central Bank hiked rates by 75 basis points, the biggest increase since 1994, and signaled a similar move as possible in July. There are growing recession fears, said Benjamin Jeffrey, an interest rate strategist at BMO Capital Markets. As concerns about an economic downturn increase, Jeffrey said the 10-year yields could drop back to 2.5 to 2.75 area, especially if we started seeing even more concerning economic data and even maybe some slowing in terms of hiring. Benchmark's 10 years fell to 3 before rebounding fell to 3.005 before rebounding to 3.070. They have dropped from 3.498 on June 14th, the highest since April 2011. Fucking God. All right, 2-year Treasury yields reached okay, boring. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. People are buying Treasuries.
So the Fed will just print more money, put it on our bill, and then give it to the United States.
That's how it works. Just give it to the United States.
So
to poor people who have no right to buy anything. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you.
You'll have more money for gas,
I
which
will?
is a good thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we agree on that. All right. I have more money for gas, which is a good thing. I'd rather not spend it on gas.
But done exactly the wrong way.
Oh, what's the right way then? He's going to tell us the right way. There's a right way to make people spend less on gas immediately, even though the government has no control over the amount of oil produced. They can put pressure on, but they can't do anything about it. I'm sure there's a reason. Let's hear it.
So now he's talking about a gas tax.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned that, and then you moved on to Granholm, and then you blew
holiday.
It. Right.
Which, again, would be good for the average person.
God forbid.
For a while.
And then you would turn it back on when things normalized and the price went back down, you mean?
However,
normal people suck.
Granholm came out yesterday and said, if these companies don't lower the gas price, the president will use every tool he has.
Nukes.
Including the
Nukes.
Defense Production Act.
Oh, my God. Not the DPA. You mean the federal government is going to spend money giving it to oil companies to make them raise refining capacity because they can't borrow that money because the Fed is raising the rate of borrowing money? Dear God, how will we ever survive? And the Defense Production Act, I mean, that's communism. That's communism right there.
So this would be the third time, Stu, that they've invoked the Defense Production Act, something that hasn't been used since
Trump did for COVID.
The war in Korea.
Oh. I had no idea that Donald Trump fought in the Korean War. And here I always thought he got out of military service by pretending to have bone spurs. Or I was today old when I found out that the Korean War was waged in August of 2020. Look at Stu's like, you motherfucker. How dare you? Now I have to correct you? How dare you, asshole?
This is a wartime act.
Uh-huh. And we are at war with communism.
And if you think that they won't declare a national emergency, Mark my words.
We already did. This was related. You don't have to declare a national emergency for the DPA.
When this happens, run for the hills.
Which hills? I need to know, because the hills have eyes. Also, I'm convinced that the federales are in the hills. I think it's an ambush.
They are going to declare a national emergency.
I do declare there's a national emergency
on climate change.
Climate change, national emergency. That's why, to fight climate change, I'm using the Defense Production Act. I don't know why Biden is Scarlett O'Hara in this, but I don't care. They're going to use we are using the Defense Production Act to pump more gas. I know it seems antithetical to the entire climate change mission, but trust me.
Which is the worst.
Run to the hills.
Then
run for your life.
And they'll issue it and maybe climate change will include the gas prices.
Oh boy, will it? Maybe climate change will include the gas prices. Okay, we're witnessing a hard fade. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. This is amazing. Like, we've seen a couple of brain farts from Glenn. This is the worst one yet.
Otherwise, they'll do an energy national emergency.
Yeah, an energy national emergency. It's separate from that. We got several of them going at one time. Now, Glenn doesn't think there's an energy national emergency. He doesn't think we need more energy. He thinks let the oil companies pump as much oil as they want. And if they don't want to pump anymore because it drives the price down, we just got to live with it. Okay? Price of doing business. And if they want to pump it, but they want to sell it overseas, they don't want to refine it and get it into the system over here. I mean, that's the market, man. You don't want these commies to tell the oil companies to do stuff.
See, they're going to do a food national emergency.
Ooh, a food national emergency. You think they're going to have paratroopers drop into your ceiling and kick the Sonic burger out of your fucking hand?
See, which means the president will have total powers to be able to gobble up the free market.
I have total powers to gobble up the free market. Yes, President Pac-Man. Good Lord. Like, this is shit where Alex Jones is like, hey, dude, tap the brakes.
And if you don't, I mean, this is fascism.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I've always, people are watery on the definition, and I appreciate, so using the Defense Production Act in three hypotheticals that you are pulling out of your ass is fascism. So what you're saying is fascism. What you're saying is that what you're saying is fascism. That you're being a fascist right now. Is that? I'm sorry, you lost me.
What he was talking about yesterday is fascism.
Is it? You mean where he's like, guys, come on. Charge what the rate is. Stop fucking with consumers. Did he force him to do it?
Now, can I ask another question?
You haven't been asking any questions. You've been making bizarre and goofy statements. Right? Has anybody heard a question? Nah, yeah, fuck it. Go ahead.
There's so much to pay attention to.
I just don't have the brain pan. My spot. I don't understand where I am. I'm lost. We're on a gas planet, and my phaser won't work. This is not what's happening, Spot. I don't understand. Can I ask you another question?
I'm sorry, we can barely keep up. I can't imagine what it's like with you, with a family, and...
Yes, I can't keep up with you. I don't know what you're saying. My translator's broken. But a kiss is how a man and woman on earth say hello. Give me some sugar, Glenn. Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a broadcaster.
Your kids in school and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, they're back in school. You mean, thanks for noticing the kids are back in school. Yeah, kids are back in school, and we're no longer in Afghanistan, and there's so many shows that are worth binging, and
on.
You're on vacation. You know, hell.
Matt Gaetz said
Oh, good. I'm glad we're going to an expert.
Saturday,
Uh-huh.
the firearms policy under Biden, he is using every tool he can.
Oh. And since Matt Gaetz is a tool, he feels used. Is that... I don't know where this is even going. What the fuck? We were on gas a second ago. What's the question? What was the other question? Weren't you supposed to ask another question?
There is a...
I'm going to go with your stacks of paper on your desk are out of order.
a problem that
Understanding you.
the IRS from March 1st to June 1st, a 3-month span, the IRS bought $700,000 worth of ammunition.
Okay. How much?
Bought $700,000 worth of ammunition. The IRS bought $700,000 worth of ammunition.
Okay. So they're going to shoot tax cheats, and that you're concerned for Trump's safety. You mean for practice?
Now, why does the IRS...
Yeah, why does anybody need that much ammunition? Why does anybody need a lot of ammunition? Good question, Glenn. Good question. Why does anybody need more than one bullet? I believe in the Barney Fife rule.
IRS need $700,000 worth of ammunition?
Because they have, because when they serve tax bills to some crazy people, there's been attempts on their agents' lives. So they have to go armed in some cases because assholes like you have drummed up hatred for them so much that they occasionally encounter someone who's a violent felon or is dangerous or will go down swinging or take out some agents and themselves. I mean, the dude flew a fucking airplane into the IRS building in Texas a few years ago. Let's see. How many IRS agents carry weapons? Let's see. It is important to note revenue officers' job is to collect money from taxpayers who owe $5,000 or less. They will carry plastic ID bags and not... let's see. IRS special agent investigates tax. What to do if the tax... Oh, here you go. This is from... Here you go. Okay, hold on one second. Shit. IRS carry virus. Convention of States, not only constant. IRS agents have guns, don't shoot straight. Criminal investigation, firearms training, white SRs, need guns, well, okay. This one keeps. I started to click on this so you could read it, but the article right here, see this? IRS has 4,600 guns and 5 million rounds of ammo. This is in November 16, 2021. IRS has stockpiled 4,600 guns and 5 million rounds of ammunition as of January 1st, 2019. Now, I don't remember who was president in 2019, but we'll see. Revenue officers and revenue agents are not permitted to carry firearms. However, if they fear danger in certain situations, they can request an armed escort. And so those armed escort, okay, just to clarify, revenue agents do not go out to homes and businesses, knocking on doors, filing tax liens, and conducting auctions to sell off seized property. What she's describing is a revenue officer. Revenue agents conduct tax audits. They perform collections, seizing property. Neither RAs nor ROs carry guns. Special agents of the Criminal Investigation Division perform criminal investigations of alleged tax fraud. They can carry guns and kick down doors because they're a federal law enforcement, just like the special agents of the FBI. When an RA uncovers what appears to be criminal tax fraud, he transfers the case to special agents in CID. When an RA or RO needs an armed escort, it is not the special agents in CID who provide it. Armed escorts are provided by the equally well-armed special agents of TIGTA, the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. TIGTA is a tiny little agency whose sole mission is to prevent corruption at the IRS. In the old days, they were the IRS Internal Affairs, but they were spun off, so now they report directly to the Secretary of the Treasury and not to anyone at the IRS. People at the IRS are scared of TIGTA the way regular people are scared of the IRS. There you go. So they've got 4,500 armed agents that deal with stuff like that, and they have to keep practice, and so they buy ammo to practice.
There's only two answers. Now,
okay, there's only two answers. One, they're coming for Don Jr. and he's bulletproof. Or two, they like to get drunk and shoot rats at the landfill every weekend.
Oh, this is on top of the 1.8 billion that Department of Homeland Security spent on it.
Spent on what?
There's several agencies that are buying up ammunition.
Oh, I see. This is part of his. This is the end run gun grab thing.
Now, there's two explanations.
Okay, two explanations. One, Glenn mistakes paragraphs from one story as being attached to other stories because all of his paper is shuffled. And two, Stu fucks with him by shuffling his papers and messing with it.
One is more nefarious than the other.
Okay, well, let's see. Probably not. They're probably both equally nefarious. I would say it's all nefarious. Two nefarious reasons. Four. I'll come in again. Nobody expects the IRS Inquisition.
Well, yes. One is more nefarious than the other.
Okay, important for making the clarification. If only just to fill time until you can throw to commercial.
One is they just have plans on arming everybody in every agency, and you will do exactly what they say, or they'll shoot.
Or agents that have firearms have rounds provided to them, and they have to be trained and go regularly discharge their firearms and practice proficiency regularly. And so they have gun ranges inside some of these places that they share with other groups, and they kind of in a rotating budgetary. They have the arms available, the guns themselves, and the ammo available.
That's the most nefarious.
Oh, is it the most nefarious? I would thought they need the bullets because that's that's the only way you can get the adrenochrome out of the children in the most frightening way possible.
The second is probably the most likely.
Okay, good. That you're drunk.
Although I wouldn't lay any of my money down on it. It's probably more risky than the stock market.
Stock market's fairly stable. I mean, it's gonna go down as a correction, but then it's gonna recorrect and head back up.
The more likely of the two, I think, is that this is just another way to stop guns from being on the streets. They are going to use every lever they can.
Yes, it's about income inequality. Only rich people will be able to afford bullets. They are taking the poor people's bullets.
If the United States government is buying up all the ammunition,
they're not. And by the way, what they buy that ammunition, I guess, department to department. That's U.S. government-made ammunition anyways.
That only drives the cost of ammunition up and only depletes the market of.
Glenn, are you for socialist ammo or against it?
Ammunition.
For it. He's for it.
So, in effect, they stop you from being able to have any kind of ammunition.
Any kind of ammunition.
Remember,
okay,
we told you on Monday of
the bullshit story. We covered that
this week.
And
what was happening with Winchester.
The government site where they make too many bullets and they sell it on the market because they make too much, and the government went, why are we paying you to make too many bullets?
Winchester makes most of our 223 and 556 for the military.
They have 3 major sites and a 4th one. And they're doing this at one of the sites.
They have a military contract in it.
They wouldn't exist without that contract.
Winchester can sell about 30% of their stock to the open market.
No, they produce 30% more than the government buys, mostly for overages and storage and that kind of shit. And they've been allowed to sell it on the open market. Artificially depressing the cost of ammunition for your mom and pop bullet makers.
And that provides the United States, the average consumer with
government subsidized ammunition. Something that no other product user gets to enjoy. But hey, guys, if you go to a golf course to just hit a few, you just go into the driving range. Are those are 30% of the golf balls you get to hit at the range provided by the U.S. government golf ball factory? At what point do you get to, if you like riding ATVs in the woods, do you get to use government tires that are sold at, we have those giant tanks and giant armored transport carriers, but of course they have the little teeny ones too. They're adorable. And after they're used in war, they sell the tires and you can put them on your ATV. And that drives the price of having an ATV down.
With about 40 to 50.
Didn't we watch this yesterday? No, he's still on this bullshit, William. He was on it. He went from gas prices and some idea that Biden's going to use gas prices to use the DPA to turn us into a communist nation back to this fucking bullet story, which he can't. I mean, he's just slipping.
Percent of all 556 and 223. The federal government was pressuring Winchester to stop selling it to the open market.
No, they're not going to order as much, and they weren't doing that. That Federalist article was the lie. This is just a rolling lie.
That would be really bad for national defense, but
really good for citizens not dying.
Beyond that, it's just another sign that they're doing everything they possibly can to stop guns.
Something gun, gas. Why does that make me think? All right.
To infringe.
This is fucking lame. They picked this clip. They put this up. Somebody at Glenn Beck's show thought this was a good idea. It was like, this will get them. Wait till they check out this sweet segment on whatever the fuck.
On your Second Amendment rights. These are the kinds of things I think
rarely
that might be caught up in a Supreme Court case.
No, they won't. The government has the right to, in their own facilities, only make as much as they don't have. They're not forced to sell makeoverages and sell them on the open fucking market, or I don't own a goddamn airplane by now.
Regarding the EPA, maybe.
The EPA? All right. That's why they're not cutting back to Stu, because Stu's going.
Case regarding the EPA, maybe, but we'll see. You have to understand.
No, I don't. I don't have to. I couldn't possibly understand. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You started with gas. Then you said he was going to use the DPA to control everything. And then you said the government's inverting the DPA, basically saying produce less because we don't want you to, we're not paying you to make too much of something so you can sell it on the cheap and flood the market against regular market forces this is normally something you'd be against. I don't know what the fuck.
Boy, if you didn't read Philip Drew, Administrator, get it. It's a free Google book because nobody in their right mind would ever pay for it.
Huh?
It is absolutely the worst book I think I've ever read. It's just so poorly written.
Great. Thanks. Never heard of it. Why do you think it matters?
But it was done by, I think it was written by Colonel House. He was the guy that was the main advisor and best friend to Woodrow Wilson. Wilson is said to have read it 3 times during his administration. He just loved it so much. It's so great. I think he said that because he wanted more and more people to read it. You should read it because it is exactly what Biden is trying to do right now. And I don't think I've ever gone into great detail. It's about...
Great, a book report, motherfucker. Is that it? Is it they just leave him alone in his garage? Shit.
The country is in chaos. The country's having all kinds of problems.
Yeah, that's never happened before. No time in history.
And all of these people just love this hero, Philip Drew. He's a war hero, and he's great, and everybody loves him, and he's super, super honest. And all he does, he just loves the country so much, and everybody knows that he's not going to do anything to hurt the country because he's your average Joe. So
great. So far, you got me looped in. It sounds like a pamphlet.
So he becomes president, but he doesn't want to be called president. He just wants to be an administrator because he's not qualified to be president. He's an administrator, and he can just use all of the administrative tools of the presidency to get the experts in who know more than he does.
Right. As opposed to Trump, who was saying, I'm going to get in all the best people. I'm going to bring in all the best people. I know more than they do, but I'm going to bring in the best people because we have stupid people in right now. I'm going to bring in the best people. Now, the people that I bring in 2 to 3 years, I'm going to call for their heads and try to get them fired, and if not, replace them regularly.
No more than the average person, and he's going to let science settle everything. And so he gets into office. He begins to do exactly what Joe Biden is doing now, and then he starts...
Oh my God, he got an infrastructure bill passed? Just as an administrator? He got us out of Afghanistan? He got a bipartisan gun bill through? He cut the deficit in half and unemployment in the same year? This guy's a great administrator.
Telling the companies in the country exactly what they can and cannot do, exactly how they're going to do, but based on experts. I mean, he's not an expert. So he just listens to the expert. And then when the experts speak, he tells the people the news, and the people rejoice because it's so wonderful having an expert administrate everything in American life.
Well, it must be refreshing after, like, say, I don't know, a rando doofus who gropes his own daughter.
It goes on by by 2/3 of the way in.
Well, it's good. I can just skip to that point.
Philip Drew he's already abolished Congress, and he has rewritten the American Constitution.
Yeah, okay. So it's plausible. I can see where this is going. I mean, this is basically the Biden administration. It's only 2/3 of the way in. I mean, we're about that point in Trump's presidency, maybe another 8 months.
Based on what the experts say.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he does something else special.
Oh, all right. Tell us about it. Please tell me. I'm worried. Don't get up. Is this a pop-up book? I'm starting to worry.
He goes state to state and abolishes their state constitutions.
Oh, that's easy. Does he have a silver hammer that he does it with?
As well. Philip Drew, Administrator. You can get it free on Google Books. And it is a must read if you want to understand where this administration is going.
What? What was that segment? This was all, I mean, he's been doing a bunch of this, like, Biden power grab bullshit. But I swear to God, like, if I didn't know better, I think they've just edited the fuck out of a clip just to mess with him. Just filling time. I thought Hillary was forcing us to give gay abortions. It happens. See what I mean? Like, good Lord. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show in any way you can. Welcome to the show. It's the House Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm at the end of I'm already a half hour over. So thanks for sticking around. We looked at a bunch of stuff today, but I think the most important part of it was the right's reaction, at least initially, to what they believed was this huge win on abortion for them. I think there's going to be an enormous backlash, but it will require Democratic voters, of which there are many, to give a shit more than one election at a time. Because if you don't, you're signing off on this stuff. If you're not voting for somebody that can actually win in an actual election, you're handing your vote over to the side that you're just saying whatever the issue is decided during that period of time, I don't care. It's not important. And eventually, if you want to form a small party like the Green Party or something like that, and you want to build it, great. Do all local races for 15 fucking years. Don't even shoot for a congressperson or a senator. Go mayors, city councils, and comptrollers and shit like that. You'll get points on the board. You'll get it. You'll get some of them. And then you'll show people that your system can work and your plans can work on a smaller scale, and you can build your way up like legitimate human beings showing a proof of concept. But they don't. It's like the libertarians. They don't have a structure for, the libertarians are a joke. It's not a functioning political philosophy. But they always run somebody for president, and then they got a couple of rando Ron Paulish kind of dickheads that are actually Republicans, but just, I call myself a libertarian, which is whatever. But they don't actually have a functioning structure where the Libertarian Party could actually operate without the entire country collapsing and some other, Russia-like or Saudi Arabia or China-like authoritarian system just eating it alive. But until a magic angel comes down and says, I'll grant you 3 party wishes. Until that happens, you got 2 choices. And if you really give a shit about the stuff you're clamoring about that's happening today and that the right is running victory laps about, if you actually care about those things, then act like it. Vote. And I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are wonderful. I would like to remind you, though, that over the next few months, whenever you're talking about these issues, if you don't have anything in your tweet or in your message that said, where there's a URL or a GIF or something like that, and you have room for it, even when you do, quite frankly, it's a great thing if you already have a picture, you're using a GIF, and you just want to put a tag in there. Vote.org will auto-populate a link, and people can just click on it and go there and make sure that they're registered to vote. Again, unlike Paul Weyrich, I want everyone to vote because I think we can win legitimately and on the battlefield of ideas. And I think it was very smart of Biden today when he was talking about these remarks to say no violence. Because one of the things that has happened is if you don't say that, when violence occurs, you've tacitly condoned it. By saying that right out of the gate, they're going to mess with you. They're going to say he has to tell people not to riot. But by saying that, if anybody does act, everybody saw him do it. And he's going to keep doing that also.